Hey everybody, Flip and Danny here, founders of the Freedom Real Estate Group, family of companies, and welcome to another episode of our podcast, which is called
Freedom Through Passive Income.
I like that. Welcome to another episode, and this is a Motivational Monday, and this is our last Motivational Monday.
It is.
No, it's a Motivational Monday, and it says this one is, who will you be 1 year from today?
Yeah. I really like the idea of taking this time of the year to look back on things. And number one, I wanted to say before I forget, thank you to Ben Cat, who is the one who encouraged us to do Motivational Mondays. Yes. He's like, what are the things, Flip and Danny, that motivate you and have gotten you, where you are in life? Maybe on Mondays, share those things, share the topics. He was walking around our office. He goes, start with all this office artwork. Like, you have very motivational artwork just around your office, talk about that. And so that's how we started our Motivational Monday episodes. So I just wanted to say thank you to Ben Cat for this idea. And here, where we're at this time of the year, as we're looking back, I thought, everybody at this time is reflecting on what's happened and looking forward to what they want to do right in the coming year. And so many of us underestimate what we can do in a year, right? And so what I wanted to talk about today is that every single day and every single choice ultimately will change who you are by the time you get to this same day next year, right? And so I wanted to encourage people by talking about the things that we have done, the little things, the things that don't seem to matter at all. And then suddenly you're like, oh, wow, that little thing actually made, quite an impact. And I'm going to let you tell the story you told me right before we pressed record, because I think that's one of the funniest things that we even right now didn't realize until you just said it.
Yep. I have to say it. And it's my cliche line, and I say it, and every time I say it, I just giggle because I think I can hear your eyes roll every time I say it. But the Great Wall of China was started with just one brick.
You're right.
Think of that one brick, that you can hold in your hand, right? And then think of the Great Wall of China. So it fits. Anyway, what we were talking about, is the little things that we did. And over this last year, Danny and I have really been focused on health and fitness and it's probably taken a whole year for it to actually finally sink into me. I was traveling the other day and I went to go buy a drink and a snack at like one of those stores in the airport. And a year ago, I would have walked in there and left with probably a big sandwich and a Diet Coke and a bag of chips. Easy. Done. I could see them all. A couple of days ago, I walked in and I left with a bottle of water and a bag of almonds. And it was just natural, and I was excited about it. And all of a sudden, it hit me, and I went, I just bought a bottle of water and almonds, like voluntarily.
Yeah, you texted me and told me that you did that, right? And I was just like, whoa, because I know during holidays or during, like, we take off. If we want to take off, we don't stress ourselves about having to be perfect, right? And I'm not stressed right now about having to be perfect, but I too am eating. I have a protein shake, and for those who are watching, they're going to see this. Just finished a protein shake, and Flip actually had his too. Yep. And I ate a couple hard-boiled eggs in the morning. It's like my morning routine, and it's not that I feel like I have to. I've given myself permission to, do things I wouldn't normally do when I'm trying to be stricter and healthier. But yet, those habits that have happened over the course of time, now we're just like, this is actually good. I actually feel good when I drink this or when I eat this, or and I don't feel as good when I eat poorly. It's those things that suddenly it's like, whoa, that really that small, little things it did take us a year, right? Like, anybody who is hardcore about this, about their health probably would have lost, 5 times as much weight as we have in the course of a year, but we slow rolled it, right? It was something that we said, we want to do this, but we don't want to put so much pressure on us that we give up, because we tried so hard to change our lives, like from, going from 0 to 10 or something like that. We said, we're going to do it in little bitty increments so that it's a little bit easier to transition and it feels okay and something that we could sustain. And I think really that this example is perfect for this episode, because it's about not being scared to do something small. Like, you don't have to go to from 0 to 100 miles per hour. You can go to 1 mile per hour is 1 mile per hour faster than you were yesterday, right? And those small changes eventually over the course of the year for us have changed into, we are now naturally eating better, which means as we continue to lose weight, we are going to be able to sustain that loss, because we're not going on these benders, or we're not getting frustrated by being so hardcore perfect that when we do like have time off, that we just go all the way to the other side and gain it all back. So I think it's really, really powerful. I really love that you shared that story.
Yeah, it's mindset too. When I was I didn't have anything better to do, so I thought I'd go to a Target here in Austin, Texas, in the middle of the day during Christmas shopping, which was fun. And as I'm checking out, I looked, and there's Snickers bars, and like 5 or 6 years ago, I'd be like, man, who wouldn't want to have a Snickers bar right now? But then the other day, as I'm checking out, I'm like, oh, I don't think I can even eat a Snickers bar anymore.
Yeah.
I think they brainwashed me.
Yeah. So take this example that we're sharing here health-wise, because it is a very important journey to us. And that's why it's easy for us to talk about. But translate that to this freedom through passive income journey, right? If you're listening to this podcast, it's because you're on a similar journey as Flip and I have been here in 2022 and prior, but really 2022 is when things started moving towards the passive income piece for us, instead of so much focused on business building. And is just as much as we talked about taking a year to focus on health and not going hardcore about it, you can do the same thing on this passive income journey, right? You can do very small things. And at the very beginning of this 365-day series, we talked about your freedom number and identifying that. Those are small things that you don't even have to do in a day. You could take a month to go through the 5 episodes and those exercises and just say, hey, this week I'm going to focus on listening to this 8-minute episode and identifying what my freedom number is. And next week I'm going to listen to another 8-minute episode and I'm going to identify what those expenses are. And those things that we talked about in order to identify where you want to go, it could take a month, but doing it in small increments over a course of a month will change the next 11 months of 2023. Right? Because now you know your freedom number, and now the next 11 months you can take more small incremental steps towards where you want to go. And then pretty soon you're like, hey, I feel really good about like understanding where I want to go, understanding the different types of ways I can get there, understanding what I'm most comfortable with in terms of how I want to get there. And those things could even take 6 months for you to answer, but that means in 6 months you're ready to invest or do the next step. Whereas if you keep putting it off and keep on feeling overwhelmed about a process and you don't take the smallest of steps, then next year you end up going, well, I'm right back where I was. Nothing changed because I refuse to even take very, very, tiny steps. So that's what we want to encourage you to do, because it's what we've done, right? In some ways in business tend to go fast and hard. In health, we went very, very slow because we know our habits and how easy it is to revert back to bad habits. So I think every single day you have an opportunity to make a choice, and that choice matters to tomorrow. It matters to the next month, and it certainly adds up and matters to 1 year from today in what you'll be able to say. And for us, I think the best story was what you shared, Flip.
Yay! Well, we hope that you enjoyed this episode. I did. I was looking forward to doing this one because it's really, you don't see the small steps until all of a sudden all the small steps are done and it's one big step. So I really enjoyed it. But make sure you head on over to our website, Freedom Capital Investments, to join the investor club. Make sure you're talking to Ben and or CJ. You're checking us out on all the social medias. And we hope that you're having a great time of the year. But we like to end all of our episodes with
Invest smart.
Live happy.
Bye, everybody.
Nothing on this show should be considered specific, personal, or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions and information on the show are not guaranteed. All investment strategies have the potential for profit and loss.